Good morning and welcome to the NBA Daily, presented by Amazon Prime for January 12th, 2026. Coming up, the Wolves get a big win over the Spurs, but Wemby had a pretty good weekend. We'll talk about that. The Nuggets win without Jokić again, and we're going to check in on the West. Are the Thunder still the favorites? Good morning, everybody. Good morning, guys. Hope you had a good weekend. You guys were busy all weekend. Spent a bunch of time in the arena all weekend, huh?
Yeah, a little bit of doing some work, doing our job.
What's that like? What's that like?
Hilarious. Doing our jobs. We locked in. We're locked in. I love it.
It's very funny when I get ready for this show and I have Zena doing Warriors post game on the television while I'm like typing up my notes and waiting on Zena to show. You know, like it's a lot of fun for me. And then S is just I guess you're just going to watch Raptors Sixers for the rest of your life now since they're...
Look, it's a great game. If it's like anything like tonight, why not?
That's pretty good. Yeah. We'll talk about that game in a minute. Guys, we got to start with the game of the weekend, and that's the Timberwolves and Spurs on Sunday. It was the second night of a back-to-back for the Spurs, okay? So we'll just start with that caveat. But they started out this game on a 16-0 run. I mean, they did not look tired at all to start the game. The Wolves clawed back into this game. Big run that started at the end of the third quarter. They were down 16 points with a minute and 12 left in that third quarter. They come back, get the win on an Anthony Edwards game winner over Victor Wembanyama.
Poetic.
We've been talking about the Wolves, man. They are now 16-6 since Thanksgiving. That's the best record in the NBA over that stretch. They got a big win here over the Spurs. You know, they beat the Thunder. I mean, this team is for real, and they always step up against these big-time opponents.
Yeah, it's funny because you look at their record, and they're about 500 against teams better than 500. So they're staying afloat. But like you said, they're beating the good teams. Like if you beat the Spurs and Thunder, that means you're in good position. And the one stat I would bring up is there are 5 teams right now in the NBA that have a top 10 offense and top 10 defense. And usually, folks, when you have that, you're in really good shape when it comes to the postseason. Very, very good shape to make, at the very least, a long playoff run. It's the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's the San Antonio Spurs. It's the Houston Rockets, who we'll get to in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Detroit Pistons, and it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves have looked excellent, like you said, since Thanksgiving. And yeah, it's the offense clicking. It's the defense clicking. Rudy Gobert is having a very good season for them. They look really, really good right now.
I just love the fact that Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle have like continued what we saw last year. I mean, Anthony Edwards has that. He started rough, right? He had a rough shooting night to start the night last night, but then he ends up hitting that game winner in front of Wemby. It was poetic, right? Well, it was not a game winner in the time. It was still 17 seconds left or so. But you can see that he's like really grown in his poise. I think Gobert mentioned post game that like in that he probably would have taken a step back last year, and he actually went to the basket on that point. And then you see Julius Randle, how much of a just tool he's been for them. Not only, we could talk about the offense, right? Like he had 15 points, 8 rebounds. Great. Okay. But defensively, like we forget this guy is massive. Like he was the guy that was also like, I don't know, stonewalling Wemby in, you know, in that last play that forced that clanker. And that's what you want to see. And we know that Wemby doesn't necessarily, when he gets physical with folks, that's when his game gets a little bit off balance. And that is exactly what you want to see out of Julius Randle, not only being the offensive juggernaut that he is in organizing thing, but also kind of being like a defensive clutch guy. Like he can handle those moments. So it's huge. Both teams now, top 4 in the West? That's big.
Yeah, Timberwolves are climbing up. To your point about Randle, the great thing about Randle is one, he's very strong. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And so
like he's huge and strong.
When like it's a Wemby type of player, and we've seen what kind of defenders they throw at Victor Wembanyama, it's the stronger wing type players. And we saw the Celtics try to do the same thing last night, right? But it was Wemby who took advantage, and the mid-range game was open for him, whether it was Jordan Walsh on him, whether it was Hugo Gonzalez, whether it was Keita. It didn't matter. Wemby got his game off, and that's how we got that game winner against the Celtics. Fast forward to the Timberwolves game, and Julius Randle has that combination of strength and length that makes it a lot more difficult for Wemby to get those shots off. So that's sort of like scouting reports for teams as they want to face the Spurs moving forward, even in the playoffs.
And I don't want to give too much credit to the Wolves though on that, because Wemby was cooking Rudy all night.
He was going right at him.
Yeah. He was going right at him.
To get to the fadeaway.
The fake and then the up and under too.
And Wemby's mid-range, and we'll talk about it in a second, just like what he's been doing offensively here the last few weeks. Like we talked about how he needed to grow his game. But back to the Wolves real quick. There's a clip of Julius Randle like rubbing his hands and looking at Wemby, like getting ready to guard him, right? Like they Wemby is going to bring this out in guys, but it's good to see Julius Randle like take the defensive challenge. I mean, he also didn't have a great offensive night, but he found a way to contribute. And this is a team that needs that, because one of the biggest problems they have is when Rudy Gobert isn't on the court, their defense really does fall off a cliff. Mm-hmm. And so if Julius Randle can be a guy who at least plays big in the moments that they need him, that helps them out quite a bit. And we got to note, as good of a season as Rudy Gobert is having, he's having a bad season between the ears. He got a flagrant foul. Yeah. He's got enough flagrant points that he's going to miss their next game. He got suspended for their next game. It was a reckless closeout, which, listen, this whole reckless closeout thing is debatable anyway. But it was on Victor Wembanyama. I mean, that one was a pretty clear violation by Rudy. I think he did invade that landing space. So it wasn't something totally egregious, but he did have a bad foul before the ball was inbounds later. So just don't worry. Like, Rudy is still having a great season, but he's going to miss that next game. Okay, let's talk about Wemby, because Wemby, look, he was excellent in the game against the Wolves, and he was pretty incredible in the game
great tonight
Saturday,
too.
Saturday against Boston. He went on a 9-0 run by himself against the Timberwolves in the second quarter, and I mean literally by himself. He was making defensive plays and offensive plays. And these are the sort of stretches, Zena, that we've talked about a lot, where he just can take it over. 16 points in the second half against Boston, had the game winner. And when we talk about him as this defensive player of the year guy, he's the best defender in the league. And a lot of that's just, he's 7'6". But the offensive part of his game, we see these moments. He started to string these together where it's multiple possessions, 5, 6, 7, 8 possessions in a row, him calling for the ball and making a play.
Yeah, he had 29 points in 27 minutes.
Yeah.
That's wild. I was laughing as you were saying the string of plays that you put together, because if you watch those clips back, it's so funny, but it's just Rudy Gobert, whether he's getting blown by or just Wemby's pulling back for a shot, Rudy just stares at the ball go through the basket, but the ball goes through the basket and he just kind of takes an extra pause. And you think about like this French connection. If there's anyone on the floor that knows him best, it's Rudy, right? So I'm just thinking, like, what's going through your head as this guy is? It wasn't just being able to shoot the outside shot, what we know he can do, shoot the mid-range, which we know he can do. It was like going between his legs and going by very methodically, Rudy Gobert. And we saw this against Boston. He was more so, I think, shaded to the mid-range against Boston, more so than, having his way with Rudy, mainly because Rudy is a big man that probably shouldn't be on someone that can handle the ball as well as Wemby. But overall, you've seen him take more control. We saw that we were at the NBA Cup, right? We saw that game against OKC, and then we saw Wemby kind of fall apart in the championship and not have quite the same level of production as that game. And that's been the concern. Can he string these things together, right? Of being able to have these massive offensive nights where he just takes over games. This was cool to see. Back-to-back games against really good teams, right? And being able to, his performance being the contributing factor to the win, right? Even in last night's game against the Wolves, they lost by 1 point. Okay, sure. But he was plus 17 in that game. That's huge.
The Wolves were 3 of 21 when he was on the court in the first half.
I'm just
shooting.
saying.
It's just
that's huge.
That's not fair.
That's
so
absurd.
So you're seeing him being able to impact the game consistently, even in a win or a loss. Like that's great for his growth and the evaluation of his game of like, okay, he is on the right track. He's getting better. You know, he's been on restricted minutes, but he's getting back to, I think, the what's the word, conditioning that you need, and also just like the cadence he needs out on the floor and his rotations.
Which is a good sign, right? Fourth start since he picked up that injury previously, the calf injury on November 13th. Look, the Nuggets guys, they keep winning without Nikola Jokić. They also didn't have Jamal Murray last night. They moved to 4-3 since Nikola Jokić went down. They beat the Bucks 108-104. In spite of Giannis having an amazing game. Giannis was plus 16 in this game, 31 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds. But, you know, he just can't do it alone. And the Nuggets, they're winning these games on depth. You know, they came into this year. That was the story of the season for them coming in. They picked up all these guys. They're finding guys that were on the roster that I didn't even know that they had, that maybe they didn't know they had. I mean,
is there a name that comes to mind?
I mean, there's a bunch of names. I mean, Peyton Watson. I mean, let's see, Julian Strother. I mean, who else had a great game? How about Tim Hardaway Jr. had 25 points? You know, and we talked about him coming in as a guy who was going to benefit playing from Jokić. The truth is, with the way that they're playing offense, I mean, they're just rolling. Like everyone's open.
Yeah, the interesting thing about the Nuggets is I thought that their offense would crater with Jokić naturally, because that's what happens when Nikola Jokić is off of the floor. But it hasn't been the case. And I think part of that is you're seeing the development of Peyton Watson, who's shooting his shot well. Like the 3-point shot is developing. He's looking more aggressive. He had this really nice drive tonight where he got downhill and finished on the same side. Overall, he just looks more comfortable creating his own shot, which is a development that I don't think any of us could have predicted. Right. But it's happening because there's more opportunity. To your point about Zeke Naji, he was out of the rotation. He was not getting any minutes, but Jonas Valanciunas is out. Nikola Jokić is out. Boom, you are now a backup center for us. Can you provide? And I think one thing Zeke has been able to do throughout his career is lock in defensively. So the defensive level that the Nuggets have been able to kind of tap into over the stretch is higher than what they regularly are at. So depth is really helping Denver. And it's making me be, I don't want to say cautiously. We'll get into it. We'll get into it for the
second half of the show. We'll get to it.
I just want, do you know that Peyton Watson is averaging just under 24 points per game over the last 7 games?
Yeah, it's absurd.
Like, that's wild. It is. Yeah. It is absolutely absurd.
I mean, there's a lot of questions about like him and his, free agency decision in the summer. Can they keep him? It's not a can. They have to keep him.
I mean, we talked about this a little bit. If the shooting for him is real, if he's a 37% 3-point shooter now with that defense, oh man.
Yeah,
that guy's good. Again, Calvin Booth, great job. Raptors Sixers, you were in the building for this. A bit of a wild game, man.
Absurd game.
It's the battle for the 4th seed. The Raptors came into the game with a half-game lead. They leave with a full game lead, and they're going to play again tomorrow. Or I guess tonight. Man, what happened at the end of this game? I thought for sure that the Sixers had this thing wrapped up.
Yeah, look, the Sixers were up 4 with 15 seconds left, and the Raptors used their challenges really well. There was an out-of-bounds call where Darko Rajakovic won a challenge, and then they got 2 points out of that, and then won another out-of-bounds challenge, and then were able to tie the game on a Jamal Shed shot. So just kind of luck. They fought
hot potato shot, by the way.
It was very hot potato shot.
CMB, Colin Murray Bowles should have probably taken the shot.
Yes.
It reminded me of the LaMelo Colin Sexton play from last week, where LaMelo had like a layup
and he dumped it off to
Colin Sexton, who had a worse shot. But Jamal Shed somehow banks this. It wasn't a layup.
It was a floater. It was like
kind of a push shot.
Yes.
Absurd shot.
By the way, CMB, I will say, Colin Murray Boyles, very great game for him. 17 points, 15 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks. Can I just add?
Just in time to get traded to Memphis? Is that what you're going to add?
Not yet. No. When was the last time I actually think this game might have taken him away from all those trade rumors.
Okay.
When was the last time a rookie had that? Can you guys guess?
Oh, man.
Can you guess a year?
17 points, 15 rebounds.
I think it's Shaq, 2002.
It's a good guess. It's a great guess, but it's not right. It's 1990. David Robinson, the last time someone did that. So
that's amazing.
Wow.
Incredible. Yeah. By the way, we at the NBA Daily got our first bit of All-Star merch.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what's up?
The PR team from the Raptors.
This is a very royal
Scotty
we here.
and B.I.
It seems like the S got a T-shirt.
We can share this if you'd like,
well,
Dave.
I was going to say,
T-shirt.
our all-star propaganda, I don't think we'll be doing any of that here on the show. Guys, stick around after the break. I'm going to ask these guys if they're still taking the Thunder to come out of the West or if the field has moved them. Last week, we did kind of a deep dive on the playoff race in the East because, we talk about the West every night. All the stars are there. I figured it was a good time to check in. And before the show, I reached out to Law Murray to check on the power rankings. I tried to see if he would leak them to me, but he acted like they were classified. He did tell me that Oklahoma City is still number one. They have been the number one ranked in our power rankings at theathletic.com, which you can go and read. Law Murray does that. They've been number one since they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers almost a year ago. That huge game.
Was a good game.
I mean, when you think about it, that was the game. They kind of took pole position in the NBA, and they've they won the title, and they've been going ever since. I thought maybe the Spurs had a chance, but that loss to the Wolves probably held them back quite a bit. And we're going to get Thunder Spurs again this week. On Tuesday night. And what if this is a game that's for number one in Law Murray's power rankings? Think about that. Wow. Prestige. No, guys, go and read his power rankings. Law works really hard at it. And I did really try to get him to help me cheat on this segment. Look, Minnesota, we talked about them 16-6 since Thanksgiving. The Rockets, look, they've been a little bit shaky. Obviously, Şengün was out, but then he comes back and they still lose to the Kings. They've been losing to bad teams, which not
9
great.
of their 14 losses are against the worst teams in the West, which is
that is
wild.
Awful.
Yeah.
The Nuggets,
And
all of a sudden,
confusing.
look, we just talked about them again. Get super deep. They're treading water without Jokić. They're doing even better than we maybe even expected. Just finding new guys every day. So I'm going to ask you. Before the season, I think most people would have said they would take the Thunder over the field to come out of the West. Now, I didn't say that, but a lot of people would.
I did. I'll go ahead and say
That's
did.
right.
Yes.
I don't remember if I did.
No, it's fun.
I don't know.
Would you guys take the Thunder or the field at this point? Has the field moved you? Do you feel as if it's closer than we expected?
I think it's one of those things where the field has moved closer to the Thunder and the Thunder have moved closer to the field. If that makes sense. They've both kind of gravitated towards each other in the way that I think some of the other teams in the Western Conference are clearly up to beat them. You talk about the Spurs. I think the Nuggets, who they have not played yet. That's one of the most anticipated matchups over the next couple weeks, and hopefully Jokić ends up coming back for that. But Thunder Nuggets is another matchup that I think works really well. We just saw it in the playoffs last year. I think there are some valid questions about Jalen Williams and how good he can be to finish this season, what the OKC's offense looks like and how predictable it can be to try and repeat as an NBA champion. It's one of those things where it's like, if you come at the king, you best not miss, but also you're going to get every team's best shot. And I think who's the most well-equipped Western Conference team to do that? I think it's the Denver Nuggets. You saw the depth that they had on display over this last little stretch. Jamal Murray is playing all-star level basketball, and for the most part, knock on wood, has been healthy. And then you look at the development of the rest of their guys. I think Cam Johnson, before he got hurt, was really finding his stride with the group. Peyton Watson, as we just discussed, is breaking out. Christian Brown figuring things out for them as well, had some good internal development. And they have the depth necessary with Jonas Valanciunas and Tim Hardaway Jr. and all these guys who just punch in and give them 10, 15 minutes of very good basketball. I think that's the perfect type of team to go out and face the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I think the field has gotten close, if not is available to pick.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I agree
I'm
with you.
taking the field. You know what? I'm taking the field. I'm not dancing around
the
this
field
anymore.
is a smart bet.
Yeah, I think the field is a smart bet. I did not know. I don't think I knew that you were gravitating towards that all the way until that very end. So I'm happy we're there, though. We got there.
I
at
want
the
it to
end.
be defiant. Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm with that too. I think you laid out the case very beautifully for the Denver Nuggets. And I don't know if I have to lay out the case for the Spurs, who have already beaten the Thunder 3 times.
Fair.
But I just appreciate the fact that the Spurs are the ones that kind of showed us, oh, the Thunder are gettable. Like there is a factor of a team that good that can't shoot threes very well, or a team that good that suffers some injuries or has some rotation lineup, discrepancies, and all of a sudden they're human. It's like, we appreciate you, Spurs. You made them human again for us. Now, I do think that there was such a gap and a chasm between how good the Thunder were in comparison to everyone else that they've just now become an average top team. I would say that I'm looking at it like it's not so obvious that it's the Thunder of the field. They're gettable. And so if I put my money on something, I would look at, if there's any team in the field I'd look at, it's the Spurs. They've done it before. But I'm with you on the final decision of the field overall.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a hyperbolic conversation, right?
Sure.
I mean, the Thunder, there's so much parity, and the Thunder did get pushed so much last year, but they felt like a freight train to start the season. And so I think that when you look now and it's like, okay, they are kind of in this, it's more of a cluster of contenders in the West now. And what did you say, S? The 4 of the 5 teams that are top 10 in offense, top 10 in defense are in the West. It's OKC, Minnesota.
Houston.
OKC, Minnesota, Houston, San Antonio. And then the only other team in the East
doesn't include
Detroit.
the Nuggets, right? Yeah. So like, I actually, I picked the Nuggets to win the title coming into the season. I love this newfound depth. My concern about the Nuggets is the defense, and especially when Jokić is out there, because what we haven't seen is them, be a top 10 defense with Jokić on the court. And I think that's probably something that you at least have to be able to touch that, that sort of level. And we've seen them crank it up in clutch time situations before, but
especially in the playoffs, we've seen them
in the playoffs, right? But this is where this experimentation coming in again, having Zeke Naji, knowing that this is a guy you might be able to come in to play some spot minutes as a defensive center. I think that's a pretty big thing for them. But yeah, this is I don't know. It's shaping up to be a pretty fun season. I cannot tell you who's going to win. Like as you said last week, it's going to be about styles making the fights. That's the West. Yeah. If the wrong team, if you catch the wrong team early, you're going to go home.
That applies to the Thunder too. That absolutely applies to the Thunder.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a really good time to be watching the NBA because I think that right now is the playoff race. This is it. Like we've probably got another 6 weeks and then that's a wrap. So hang on to your hats, guys. It's about to get pretty competitive if these guys can stay healthy. All right, that's going to do it for the show. If you were watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. You know how it goes. And if you're listening, wherever you're listening, leave us a 5-star review and join our Discord. It's in the show description. We're hanging out, watching games over there, making jokes, all kinds of stuff like that. Thank you guys again for listening. For Zena Keita and S. Baraheni, I'm Dave DuFour, and this has been the NBA Daily. Y'all be good.